All right, hello. This is my presentation of my capstone. I've titled it Perusing Peru. So let's just get into it. So, first of all, what is this all about? So, you're going to experience my experience as we scroll through this together. I had a 10-day journey down in Peru where I provided preventative healthcare to both urban and rural populations. Now, we're going to explore all of this as well as transition into a little bit more of a research base of the difference of medicine, health, and wellness across different Peruvian populations. I'll also explore why some of these differences matter to me as I begin to enter the nursing field. So, what does preventative healthcare really mean? So, preventative healthcare can be broken down into primary, secondary, and tertiary prevention. So, primary prevention involves measurements that prevent the onset of a disease or illness, such as a vaccination, a checkup, or a distribution of vitamins. Secondary prevention will gear towards identifying risks for disease and implementing the specified testing necessary so that we can detect that early on and get treatment as soon as possible. This includes screenings like anemia testing, blood sugar checks, blood pressure checks, and ultrasounds. Tertiary prevention is when a patient is already diagnosed with either a chronic disease or something that's going to affect their life. And we're going to come up with strategies and recommendations to improve their quality of life moving forward. So, this would be including pain management, prescriptions for chronic diseases, anything that will enhance their quality of life moving forward. So, everyone sees health, wellness, and treatment differently. And this matters as it will dictate how an individual goes about seeking health and healthcare for themselves. And that will include access, any traditions that they have, and disparities that they may face that will influence the care that they accept and receive. So, as a healthcare worker, I need to be able to grasp those concepts as I'm going to be interacting with all different walks of life in my practice. And I have a nice little quote here at the bottom. Our health is not a unique attribute that is determined in isolation by our genetic makeup. Our health is instead shaped largely by a host of environmental and societal factors that allow for unique expression. So, what I did for you here is I have a nice little blog of all 9 days of my journey in Peru. So I'm not going to go through in depth every single day because that will go way over our time limit. But I just want to show you, our first couple days were filled with just exploring the culture, understanding kind of where we just landed, with the primary course of this honors capstone. I really went in depth into that, but it's so different when you're actually sitting there and experiencing it firsthand. You can see here I tried alpaca for the first time. I was trying coca tea. Then we went through and just saw so many ancient historical sites that kind of give a window into how deep tradition really goes into Peru. So I have a whole little post here about all different areas that we went and saw. And then, of course, Machu Picchu, which was a wonderful experience. Get the pun, get the pun. I'll show you this video quickly. This is only like about a minute long, so we can watch this. That was just a fun little look through. But then these next days are the clinic days. So, this, if you're interested, feel free to hop on this website. I kind of go through everything that I saw. And in summary, I just saw such a different experience of what healthcare could mean and the setting, the access, the materials, the healthcare workers. I got 2 days in a clinic down in Cusco where they did a lot of that primary and preventative care. And then for my third day, I was actually able to go to a hospital in Hurricana. And then my last 2 days of clinic were actually setting up clinics in rural villages that don't have adequate access to healthcare. So we went in, gave them different medicines, gave different checkups, anything that we were able to do in that short time that we were there with them. My two specialties were fitting glasses, reading glasses and sunglasses, as well as being a pharmacist. So I just got a very well-rounded experience of what healthcare really means in Peru, which I'm very grateful for. And I connected this to my research. So I looked at what traditional versus modern medicine means, most mainly in that Peruvian culture. As Peru has a very large indigenous population, the largest in Latin America, as well as one of the largest amounts of botanical herbal medicine. So it's very embedded into the Peruvian culture to have those shamans, to have those healers, and to have that traditional outlook. And this comes a lot from disparities that are faced in the Peruvian healthcare system. And I saw a lot of these firsthand. Funding is not the same, access is not the same. And even when access is obtained, there's so many barriers that can be a factor into having adequate healthcare, such as stigma, economics, access to resources, as well as just understanding health literacy, as well as understanding of different cultures by healthcare professionals. Peru is such a diverse area with so many indigenous cultures that it's difficult for us to truly be able to provide that adequate care. But there is progress towards integrating and preserving that traditional medicine that we have, as it does take a more holistic approach, which is kind of what I get into here as what is health and wellness. As a Western society, we look at it from a very biomedical standpoint, but a lot of Caribbean cultures look at it a lot more holistically, looking at the mind, body, and soul when healing. So there's a lot I think that can be learned from that for us. And that is kind of what I look into here with my final takeaways. I really just want to remember that come with compassion. It's very difficult to check those biases at the door, but we need to be able to do that and lead with an open mind. As a nurse, you take an oath to be nothing but benevolent for your patients. So having a stigma or leaving them more frustrated than they were when they first arrived to me would directly contradict what I'm here to do. So going through this journey, having the time in Peru, working on this capstone, I feel like really allowed me to open my mind as well as explore further passion that I already had of having that alternative and traditional medicine and understanding it in my more biomedical focused practice. This learning will forever be a lifelong process, but I think throughout this, and I hope if you go through this, we can all learn that this is a process that we should be excited for. And whenever we have the ability to talk to someone with a different culture, with a different understanding of health, come with an open mind. Because as much as you can teach somebody, as much as me as a nurse can teach someone with that Western foundation of health, there's so much more we can learn from the years, even centuries of health that have been integrated into that Peruvian culture. And this is just opening a door for me. I hope that I can continue to follow a path of learning lifelong throughout the rest of my practice. My last page is just all of my references, and if anyone needs to contact me, I have my email and my Instagram linked. So I hope you get the time to explore this site a little more, really go through and see what I learned, and thank you for listening.